Hello everyone, this is Williams Alfred Onen, aka Kiwix from Kiwix Compose Studio, and in my today's tutorial I'll try and show like a difference between login pages for using PHP actually, and I'll use the procedural mode of PHP method of writing PHP codes, and then I'll try and use a framework called CodeIgniter to do the same. And from the look, you can choose what you really think is better. Uh, they're all good. You can all use them for the same things, but frameworks are actually used to help you just concentrate more on the project at hand, not on the codes that you write. So let's go on and start. Here, I've already done a HTML form. I've created a HTML form that has this product here. The login, we have username, we have password, we have a login button here, and if you observe, we use a method post here. So this method post is usually used in such cases. We have another method called get, and if you want to know more about them, try and make some research about them. But for now, we need the post. Okay, so we have this file created as index. So let's go ahead and create like a db connection file. Let's just name it db.php, and it's actually a PHP file. Since it's all PHP, we can leave it like this without ending, and we can start like using a try catch statement. Let's use a PDO exception. Now I'm connecting my database using object-oriented approach actually, but it's all good. It doesn't matter. You can create your own. Once it connects to the database, that's all we need. So let me create a variable and name it PDO, like PDO equals new PDO. This is all creation of a DB connection, and to me this is easier because it helps me just to specify things like, okay, my SQL here, and I'll be like host equals localhost. Then I'll specify the DB name actually, like DB name equals, okay, I created a database here and I named the database tutorial. Tutorial is the name of the database, and here I'll specify the name of the database, tutorial. Sorry, why was my hand used to semicolons? Tutorial. And then after that, I'll just try and indicate like my login credentials for the tutorial database, and the username, let me just use like the default username. Let me say root, and then password is empty, it's blank, that's for default. And let me do some trick here also, like PDO should set attribute exactly. And you know what, you don't really need to care about everything here that I do. You just need to watch, learn, and then you try doing it yourself, like attribute with error modes. This is a different thing on its own, and we have a lot to cover. So if I start talking about this right now, we really won't finish this at this moment, so we'll just go straight. Now this will only as it is, it will connect us to the database actually, but let's just try to make some things up, like PDO should execute something like exec. That's what we use to execute. And then we set names. This is where we set like the the character set, and here I want to set the character set to UTF-8. Yes, and since we're doing tracker statement, now this should be enough for now. And then okay, now this, it means this should connect to database. And what if it doesn't? We have an exception, right? So we'll catch the exception, and then we try to put a user defined error message. So let's just say like echo, that's if it doesn't connect. We can put anything like echo unable to connect to the database. Exactly. And then probably it should exit after that. Thank you. And our connection is done. This is just what we need to connect to our database. And why I said I like this better is because what if I stopped using MySQL as my database? Okay, I can just come here. If it's Oracle that I use, I can just include okay, host. What if the host is no longer local host? I can just easily identify them here. So it makes things easier. Not like when you want to make connection in this place, you use MySQL, ASOC, MySQL Connect, all the stuffs, and to me it's kind of hectic, and people are dodging away from hectic things. So to me, I believe this is better. So when we want to use it here, we just come to this place, and then we say PHP, and then we include the file that we created here. Include db.php, that's all, and everything here would exist here. And anytime we want to use database, we just include that file, that's all. So here we can easily come here, create another PHP file, and then we can like start actual coding for this. Our main aim is that when we type in something here and a password here and log in, it should take us to a page. And when we type in something wrong that doesn't exist in the database, it shouldn't take us to anywhere. It should show us a message, an error message actually, that we'll set by ourselves. Here we don't have any content in the table. We name the table users within tutorial table, database, sorry. So let me quickly use my command prompt to insert some files actually. Root, and then password, no password. So I want to use the table tutorial. Yeah, database changed. So let's say insert into, we have users table, and then yes, we have users table, and then we have the columns ID, username, and password. So we want to insert into username only and password, sorry. Then we specify the table names, username, password. If you don't get this actually, and maybe you're first, or you're a learner in MySQL, I would recommend that you check my other tutorial, which I named as QX Compose MySQL Introduction, or an overview. I've forgotten, but it's still uploaded there on YouTube. So insert into users this values. So let's just insert a raw. Maybe let's say demo, the name of the user, and then password. Let's just say login. And then if everything works out correctly, yes, we have query OK, one row affected, and we can explain, or we can select all from users, and we would see that we have an ID of one, username, demo, password, login. So I believe we're done with this. So let's continue. Now we have this. So we actually try to do something, that if we click this it should do something, right? So we do this by putting an if else condition, like if is set that dollar underscore post, then the name of this field actually login. So now this means if this, which we named as login, which is the submit button, is clicked, that's what this statement means. So if it's clicked, it should do something here. So what are we going to do? Well, we want to make some things known actually. So let's say username equals underscore post, sorry, underscore post username. Note the name of this, the name you include here should correspond to what is here. It doesn't matter what you put here. This is just a variable, but I prefer using them as they are. So we have done this for username. So let's do it actually for password also. And yeah, I'm trying to think of this this, no, it's not there, but well, I'll get there. So I was thinking of this shortcut for Sublime Text that one will be able to just duplicate that place, but well, it doesn't work, maybe because of the recording, but we can manually hard code it. We are not lazy in typing today. So password, okay, we have this known, and we can easily use these variables actually. And the reason why we are using post here is because we specified the method here as post. If we were using a get method here, this would probably and obviously be get. So username, password. So let's just put a try-catch statement here. You can go learn more about try-catch statements. It's not really a big deal. It's just like when you try this and it doesn't work, then catch the exception that comes in. That's all I guess I can say for it. So try, then let's put a query, like an SQL query. So let's say select maybe all from, am I spelling the right thing? Okay, from, then we put the name of the table, users. Yeah, I believe it's users. Then this is normal SQL query, where select all from this table, where then we put like what we want to put. So where username, which is this username, equals what. Now this username that we specified here should correspond to the name of this field here. So if I wrote user here, now this here would be user, mind you, and I can easily say, okay, where username, this username equals user name, like just the name of this variable. But there's what we call SQL injection, and now it's just a situation whereby someone would like hack into your query files and then just change some commands, and you realize that you are not really doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing, but someone actually changed it. So to avoid that, we try to like bind our statements. So let's just use this, like username equals username, and with double ampersand, password also corresponding to the name in the database as password. Exactly. Now let's just create a variable and then save it here in the variable. That's much better. So let's create another variable, and then we can name that variable like result. I love that, result. So we're using PDO, right? So we can just easily use PDO. It's known here. We can say PDO. So when we write PDO here, DB recognizes what we mean by PDO, because actually we have something PDO here. So it won't ask you for more questions. It just knows that okay, this video that this guy is referring to is from the DB connection that we had. So we want PDO to help us do something. What? We want PDO to help us prepare the statement that we just had, and then this statement we have stored it as SQL. Some people will prefer typing everything as it is here in this place, but what's the essence when you have variable that can store everything here for you and you can use it at that moment with just the name of the variable? So now PDO will do that, and then the reason why we prepared this is because we are binding everything here. Because when we're in a binding, we don't even need to do all this prepare. We just need to execute our query, and that's all. But as I said, to avoid SQL injections, this is the safest way of doing it. So result also, which is what we declared, because we say result should prepare this. So if result has prepared it, sorry, PDO should prepare this here. So if PDO has prepared this, it will be stored in result. So now we'll use our results here. So we can say our result should bind values. Like now bind value is another very important PHP function, but I won't talk about it right now because actually, yeah, I won't talk about it because that's a lot more lesson again, and we're just concentrated with the login because we, as I said, we have a lot to cover. So bind value, and then what values do we want to bind? We want to bind these two values here, like username, yeah, and then what values you want to bind. It means this value here that we just did, you know, we said this username is this, so we are like taking that person to somewhere where it is not, because it's not, this place doesn't actually contain this. It just serves as a variable, and then we say okay, we want to bind value, we want to bind what we wrote here to something, we want to bind this to this variable username. So it means anything a user enters here will be posted and saved in this variable, and then this variable here will store it, and then to bind the values here, and then I think that's the simplest explanation for that. So we can still do our result again. Result should bind value again, and we'll do it for password. So password, sorry, it should be the binding value of password and password. That's great. So when we bind values for username and password, what next should we do? We need to execute, right? And what should execute for us is the results that we just did. Can you imagine? We just stored everything here within this variable here, result, and we're using result as we like. It would have been this, everything here to be here, everything here to be here also, and you know how hectic it will be and how bulky to make your codes be. So we can say okay, result should execute. Yes, so result should execute whatever it is that we actually binded. So in doing that, I think we can be safe. We can be saved. Okay, and then we can say maybe like result. We use a special PHP function also, row count. Now this row count actually counts from the name. It counts like, okay, does this exist here? It doesn't exist. Then why are you using it? Okay, I'm using it because I want to. Then you are not allowed. It bounces back. So we want to row count, and we indicate like it accepts parameters actually, and then we indicate, okay, we want to count, okay, like one row, like one column, and then that's all. So only one user is allowed to log in at a time, so this would be fine. And then we can actually store this within a variable. Let's just say total. If this isn't how you do your login pages, then it will be a new knowledge for you that this is another way of doing it. So it won't be something new, and then it's adding enough knowledge actually. So what if this doesn't work? Which is catch an exception, right? Yes, but I don't see any need of doing that again, because actually it is going to work. So we can say, like, if now this variable that we just declared as total, what if result is, as in, after row counting, and it counted and the value it got is less than 1, it should do something, right? So it means if it's less than 1, it means it's actually not correct. So we have to echo out something, a message to the person trying to hack into our site. So we can, like, say maybe incorrect login credentials. And then probably we'll need to exit. What is the purpose of keeping that person there again if that person isn't really the right user? So exit, and then that's if it doesn't work. What if it does work? So you put an else statement here, and then we take that person to another place. We can say, like, header, and yeah, I love this text editor. It simplifies things a lot for me. So we'll take a person to a location actually, and then what's the name of the location? We've not created any other location, but let's just say dashboard.php. So if it doesn't work, that's it will show us this message. If it does work, it should take us to dashboard.php. So let's quickly create a new file, or let's say control new, control N, and then I use my snippet which I created in Sublime Text, so it actually helps. So we say dashboard.php. exactly. So if it works, so we can into dashboard, and then we can change this to you just you just got it right. Yeah, like, you just got it right. So that's if it works. If it doesn't, it will bounce back right back on the login page. So let's reload this page, and then let's try putting in gibberish stuff like this, and then okay, incorrect login credentials, it means it actually worked for the error message. So let's try just putting the normal thing we know, like demo, and then the password is logged in. Yeah, you just got it right. So this means it actually worked. Okay, it did work. Now there's another way of putting our password uh, to be more secured. We encrypt the password in, like, probably, let's say, MD5. So here I'll create a variable and say password. I can say maybe this is password 1, then this should be password, and then it should be an MD5 of password 1. If you don't really know some of these things, it's actually not listen, because okay, I'm using MD5. Why am I using MD5? You know, when someone accesses my database and views my database, that person will just see, okay, the username of this person is demo, the password is login. That's it. I'll just log in. So once I encrypt it, take a look at this, and I reload the page. I'll put correct things like username as demo, password as login, and it didn't log in. Why didn't it log in? Everything was right, okay, but because I just put MD5, I have to correspond. I have to make this correspond here. So that's why I have to come to uh sorry, structure here, and then I come to password. I say change, and then here now my problem is I don't usually use this for my database stuffs. I just prefer using the command prompt. Okay, so password here, and we come to this place and then select MD5. Since we used MD5, there are other methods of encryption like SHA something, yeah, like I can't really see it here, but like SHA-5, I guess. Is it okay? It's not really here. Okay, SHA-1. The other was, I guess, and MD5 is what I usually use. Nobody would really know the method you use in encrypting your stuff, so you just say go and look at this. It just changed. So even if I access your database, I won't be able to know your password. But if I log in again using the same login credentials, login demo, and then login, yeah, you just got it right. So this is actually for the login using um, normal procedural PHP codes. So in the part 2 of this tutorial, I'll actually show you how to do the same thing, the same login that will do the same job here using a framework we call CodeIgniter. It's actually a very good code framework, and what frameworks actually do is that they help you think less of the code and then think more of the project at hand, and you tend to finish things easily, fast, and you even think of expanding your projects within a shorter time. So thank you for watching this. Watch out for part 2, and you see what I'm talking about. Thank you very much.